This is the IELTS listening test. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have the chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 parts. At the end, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Part 1. Part 1. A woman is calling Kingfisher Car Rentals to hire a car for a weekend trip. First, you have some time to read questions 1 to 4. Now listen and answer question 1 to 4.
Good afternoon, Kingfisher Car Rentals. This is Ben speaking. How can I help you today?
Hello. I'm looking to rent a car for next weekend, and I was hoping you could give me a few details about availability and cost.
Absolutely. May I take your name, please?
Yes, it's Alison Bradshaw. That's Bradshaw.
Got it. Thanks, Alison. Now, what dates are you looking to rent for?
From Friday the 14th of June through to Monday the 17th, so that's 3 full days.
Okay, 3 days. And from which branch would you like to collect the car?
The Oxford branch, if that's available.
Let me check. Yes, we have several cars available at Oxford for those dates. Do you have a specific car type in mind?
Just something small. I don't need anything fancy, just reliable and fuel efficient. Ideally something I can park easily.
In that case, I'd recommend a compact hatchback, seats 5, air conditioning and decent boot space. It's also one of our most economical models.
That sounds perfect. Is it a manual or automatic?
It's manual by default, but we do have automatic models for an additional £8 per day.
No worries, I can drive manual, so I'll stick with that.
Excellent. For the 3 days, the total rental fee would be £117, and that includes comprehensive insurance and 24-hour roadside assistance.
Sounds good. Is fuel included?
No, I'm afraid not. The car will come with a full tank, and we ask that you return it full as well. Otherwise, a refueling charge applies.
Okay, that's fair. How about mileage? Are there any limits?
Unlimited mileage is included in your rental, so you can drive as much as you like within the UK.
Great. Can I make the booking now?
Certainly, I'll just need to collect a few details. First, can I take your phone number?
Sure, it's 07748612903.
And your email?
That would be alison.bradshaw1985@gmail.com.
Got it. And you have a valid UK driving licence?
Yes, I've held one for over 10 years.
Perfect. We'll also require a debit or credit card for the security deposit.
That's fine.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer question 5 to 10.
Now, will anyone else be driving the vehicle?
Yes, my partner will be sharing the driving.
There's a small additional charge of £15 for a second driver.
No problem. We'll both bring our documents.
For example, a sat-nav roof rack or child seats. Do you need any optional extras?
She's 7. We'll need a booster seat for our daughter.
Booster seats are provided free of charge. Just be sure to mention it when collecting the vehicle. That's fine.
I know the Lake District can be tricky with mobile signal. Actually, now that I think of it, I may need a sat-nav as well. Will do.
Good point. We can include a sat-nav for £6 per day. Would you like to add that?
Yes, please.
All right. That brings your revised total to £135, including the sat-nav and the second driver.
Okay.
Collection is any time after 9 a.m. on Friday the 14th. Returns must be made by 6 p.m. on Monday.
Got it.
The Oxford branch address is 18 Riverbank Road. That's RIVERBANK. Postcode is OX39DF.
Thanks, I'll note that down.
Please remember to bring a photo ID, such as a driving license or passport.
That's fine.
Do you want to sign up for our loyalty program? It gives you 10% off future bookings and occasional upgrades.
Sure, why not?
I'll sign you up. You'll get a welcome email later today.
Brilliant. Is there anything else?
That's everything on my end. Once payment is processed, you'll receive your confirmation by email. Make sure to arrive about 15 minutes early on the day to complete final checks.
Will do. Thanks so much for your help.
My pleasure, Alison. Enjoy your trip and drive safe.
Thanks again. Bye.
Goodbye.
That is the end of part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 2. You will hear a staff member at the West Hill Heritage Museum giving a welcome briefing to a new group of volunteers. First, you have some time to read questions 11 to 14. Listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Good morning everyone, and thank you for joining us here at the West Hill Heritage Museum. My name is Rachel Norris and I'm the volunteer coordinator. This session is designed to give you a complete overview of your roles and what to expect during your time here. West Hill Museum is one of the oldest heritage museums in the county. Founded in 1956 by a local historian named Dr. Evelyn Marsh. She had a personal collection of Victorian-era objects, and when she passed away, she left them, and her house, to the community. Since then, the museum has grown into a full cultural centre, with thousands of artefacts and a rotating schedule of exhibitions. The museum's primary goal is to preserve and interpret the history of the West Hill region, especially its development during the 19th and early 20th centuries. We cover everything from industrial growth and domestic life to local folklore and traditional crafts. We receive around 30,000 visitors per year, including many school groups and tourists. Volunteering at the museum is a great opportunity for a number of reasons. Some of our volunteers join because they are passionate about local history and want to share that interest. Others are students looking to gain work experience or develop skills in public engagement. We also have a number of retirees who enjoy staying active and giving back to the community. Whatever your reason, we hope you find your time here enjoyable and rewarding. Now, let's talk about your possible roles. There are several different areas in which you may be assigned. First, there's visitor services. This includes welcoming guests, selling tickets, managing the coat check, and giving directions. It's ideal for people who enjoy meeting new people and have a friendly, patient manner. Next, we have exhibition support. Volunteers in this role help set up displays, change signage, and sometimes work on conservation tasks under supervision. You don't need a background in art or history, but an eye for detail definitely helps. Another role is education and outreach. This is great for those of you interested in teaching or working with children. You'll assist with school visits, prepare learning materials, and help lead short activities or object handling sessions. Finally, we offer a limited number of spots in research and archives. This is a quieter, behind-the-scenes role where you'll help digitize documents, catalogue artifacts, and support the curators in gathering historical data for exhibitions. These places are limited and typically go to volunteers who've been with us for a while. You'll have an opportunity to express your preferences after this talk, and we'll do our best to match your skills and interests with our needs. As for scheduling, most volunteers commit to one shift per week, which lasts around 4 hours. We also ask that you commit to a minimum of 3 months with us, just so we can provide consistent service to our visitors and staff. Uniforms are not required, but we do ask that you wear your museum lanyard and badge while on site, and dress in neat, casual clothing. Oh, and comfortable shoes are a good idea, especially if you'll be standing for long periods. Now, a few words about safety. All volunteers receive basic safety training, including how to guide visitors during an evacuation and how to report hazards. If you're working in exhibition support or archives, you'll get additional instruction on handling artifacts safely. We also introduced a new feedback and support system this year. Previously, volunteers only had annual reviews, but now you'll have a short check-in each month with your supervisor. This gives you a chance to raise any issues, share suggestions, or ask for additional training. We've already seen a big improvement in volunteer satisfaction because of this.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
I also want to take a few minutes to share the results of a visitor survey we conducted over the past 6 months. We wanted to better understand current attitudes toward different museum experiences and adapt our programs accordingly. One of the questions we asked was about the popularity of audio guides. These are available in several languages and are especially useful for international visitors. Most respondents said they liked having the option, though a few felt the devices were awkward or outdated. Overall, the response was positive, and we plan to upgrade to app-based versions soon. Next, we looked at interactive exhibits, such as touchscreen timelines or virtual reality experiences. Some visitors, particularly families with children, found these engaging. However, others said they preferred traditional displays with physical artifacts and written descriptions. It seems these digital additions are appealing, but only when used in moderation. We also asked about guided tours. These continue to be one of our most popular offerings, especially when led by passionate, knowledgeable guides. In fact, many visitors said the tour was the highlight of their visit, which is why we're investing in more training for our tour team. Pop-up exhibitions were another topic. These are small, temporary displays that appear in unexpected parts of the museum. Responses were mixed. Some visitors liked the surprise element, while others said they found them confusing or easy to miss. We're now working on better signage and promotion to help with this. Finally, we asked about our museum cafe. While the quality of food was generally praised, people wanted more vegetarian and gluten-free options. A few also suggested extending the opening hours, particularly on weekends, so we're discussing that with the catering team. Thanks for listening, and once again, welcome to the team. Please stay seated and a staff member will come around to assign your welcome packs and give you a brief tour of the museum facilities.
That is the end of the part 2. You have half a minute to check your answers. Part 3. You will hear two university students, Rachel and Omar, discussing their joint research project for their educational psychology course. First, you now have some time to read questions 21 to 25. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hey, Omar. Glad we could finally sit down and plan this project properly. The deadline's in 2 weeks, so we really need to get organized.
Yeah, I know. I was starting to feel stressed about it, to be honest. I've looked at the project guidelines again, and we definitely need a strong central question. Did you get any ideas?
I've been thinking a lot about motivation in education. It's something we both mentioned in our initial brainstorming. Specifically, I thought it could be interesting to explore how different types of classroom feedback influence student motivation.
That's a good one. You mean like comparing praise to constructive criticism or written versus verbal feedback?
Exactly. I've seen studies where they differentiate between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and how feedback can either encourage deep learning or just surface-level performance.
That's great. We could frame our research question as, how do different forms of teacher feedback impact students' motivation and learning behavior? That way, we can cover both emotional and behavioral outcomes.
I like it, and it's specific enough to build a methodology around. So, what kind of data should we collect?
Well, I think we'll need to mix methods. Maybe distribute a short survey to students across a few different year levels. We could ask about what kind of feedback they find most motivating and why.
That sounds manageable. Should we include both primary and secondary school students?
I'd say let's keep it to secondary school students, maybe year 9 and year 11. That way we can compare different age groups without overcomplicating things.
Good point. Also, it'll be easier to get access to older students through the university's school placement program. We could reach out to our contacts from last semester.
Perfect. I also think we should include a small set of teacher interviews, maybe 4 or 5. Ask them what types of feedback strategies they use and what responses they observe in students.
Great idea. That gives us qualitative insight to balance the surveys. I know one teacher from my previous school placement who might be willing to help.
Awesome. I'll contact a few as well. We'll need to prepare interview questions that are open-ended but focused.
Yes, something like, what kind of feedback do you find most effective for student motivation? Or how do students respond differently to praise versus correction?
Right. We can test the questions on each other to make sure they're clear.
What about theoretical grounding? Are there any models or frameworks we should refer to? Definitely. The self-determination theory is a good starting point. It's all about autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Feedback ties into the competence part.
And maybe Carol Dweck's mindset theory, especially the difference between fixed and growth mindsets and how feedback influences that.
Good thinking. We can structure the literature review around those. You take the self-determination angle, and I'll focus on the mindset theory.
Deal. Let's aim to each find at least 5 academic sources by the end of the week.
Agreed. And we should start compiling them into a shared bibliography. Use APA style, right?
Yes, APA. I'll set up a shared document for that.
Sounds like a plan.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
What about visuals? We'll need at least 2 for the final submission.
I can make a chart from the survey data, like a bar graph comparing how motivating different feedback types were rated. You could create a diagram that summarizes the theoretical models we used.
Perfect. That should satisfy the visual data requirement. Also, let's make sure we don't overlook the ethical considerations. Since we're working with minors, we'll need consent forms and ethics approval.
Good point. I'll handle the ethics form. I've got a template from our previous project that we can modify. We'll need school permission and guardian consent for the student participants.
Excellent. I'll help with drafting the participant information sheet. Should we include a token of appreciation for the teachers who participate?
Maybe a small gift card or a handwritten thank you note. It's good to show appreciation without being overly formal.
Yes, that'll work. Maybe test it on a few classmates? Let's also make sure we pilot the survey before distributing it.
I'll draft the survey this weekend and send it to you for feedback. Definitely. That way we can catch any confusing questions.
Should we schedule another meeting early next week? Thanks. I'll start drafting the interview guide and send that to you as well.
How about Tuesday afternoon? I'm free after 2 p.m.
That works. I'll reserve a group study room in the library.
Great. This is really coming together. I feel a lot more confident now.
Same here. I'll email our professor just to confirm the formatting requirements and final submission process.
Good idea. And I'll double-check the grading rubric to make sure we're hitting all the criteria.
Awesome. So just to recap, you're handling methods, ethics, and survey visuals. I've got the intro, theory models, and diagram. We'll write the discussion and conclusion together.
That's right. I'll also set up a shared folder so we can keep everything organized.
Excellent. I'll update our task list and timeline right after this meeting.
Thanks, Rachel. I think we're on track for a strong submission.
That is the end of the part 3. Now you have 30 seconds to check your answers. Part 4. You will hear a seminar about the future of renewable energy. First, you have some time to read questions 31 to 40. Listen and answer question 31 to 40.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll discuss a topic that is becoming increasingly important: renewable energy and its role in shaping our future. As global demand for power continues to grow, the challenge is to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels while still meeting the energy needs of billions of people. Renewable energy sources, such as solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal, are often viewed as the answer, but the transition is complex and requires careful planning. Let's start with why renewable energy is so vital. Fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas have been the backbone of industrial development for more than a century. However, burning these fuels releases carbon dioxide, a major contributor to climate change. Rising temperatures, extreme weather events, and melting ice caps are all direct results of greenhouse gas emissions. The switch to renewable energy is therefore not just about innovation, it's about survival. Solar power is one of the fastest-growing renewable technologies. It works by converting sunlight into electricity through photovoltaic panels. The main advantage of solar energy is that it's both clean and abundant. Even on cloudy days, panels can generate electricity, though at a reduced efficiency. Over the past decade, the cost of solar panels has dropped significantly, making them accessible for homeowners, businesses, and large-scale power plants. However, one challenge with solar energy is that it's intermittent. It only produces power when the sun is shining. This means we need efficient energy storage systems, such as lithium-ion batteries, to ensure a stable supply. Wind energy is another major player in the renewable sector. Wind turbines capture the kinetic energy of moving air and convert it into electricity. Offshore wind farms, located at sea where winds are stronger and more consistent, are becoming increasingly popular. One advantage of wind energy is its scalability. Small turbines can power individual homes, while large farms can generate electricity for thousands of households. That said, wind energy faces criticism due to its impact on local wildlife, particularly birds and bats, as well as the noise generated by the spinning blades. Hydropower, or water-generated electricity, remains the largest source of renewable energy globally. It works by harnessing the movement of water, usually through dams, to drive turbines. Hydropower is highly efficient and capable of producing large amounts of electricity. However, building dams can disrupt local ecosystems, displace communities, and affect the natural flow of rivers, which in turn impacts fish populations and agriculture downstream. Geothermal energy is another promising source. It uses heat from the Earth's interior to produce power. Unlike solar and wind, geothermal energy is not dependent on weather conditions, making it highly reliable. The challenge lies in the geographical limitations, as geothermal plants can only be built in regions with suitable underground heat sources. Another crucial aspect of renewable energy is storage and grid integration. Because many renewable sources are variable, storing excess power and distributing it effectively is a major hurdle. Battery technology is advancing rapidly, with companies developing systems that can store energy at a scale large enough to power entire neighborhoods. Smart grids, networks that use digital technology to manage supply and demand, are also being implemented to make energy distribution more efficient. Moving beyond technology, we also need to consider policy and investment. Governments play a critical role in promoting renewable energy through subsidies, tax incentives, and research funding. Countries like Germany, Denmark, and China have made huge strides in expanding renewable infrastructure because of supportive policies. In contrast, nations that continue to heavily invest in fossil fuels are likely to face economic and environmental challenges in the coming decades. Public awareness and community involvement are equally important. Transitioning to renewable energy requires not just technological innovation, but also a cultural shift. People need to adopt energy-saving habits, such as using energy-efficient appliances and reducing unnecessary consumption. In many places, community solar projects allow residents to collectively invest in renewable power, sharing both the costs and the benefits. Looking ahead, the future of renewable energy is promising. Some experts predict that by the year 2050, the majority of global electricity could come from renewable sources. Advances in battery storage, floating solar panels, and even tidal energy, which harnesses the power of ocean tides, are likely to play a big role. The key is to ensure that the transition is inclusive, affordable, and sustainable.
That is the end of the part 4. You have now 30 seconds to check your answers. You have now 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet.